So Alice, just as a quick overview, operates in four countries and almost continents, and certainly works for large and to medium firms throughout both Australasia and certainly in the UK. Established itself in Vietnam as a source of extremely good talent, and worked predominantly for the UK market before with Josh set up in Australia, and working now with some larger firms and larger practices here. Over 100 employees, and Rob Kirk from the Dubai office is also coming down to join us in the Australia office. So certainly have some good coverage to assist in both West Australia, Victoria and Sydney. We work not just for architects, and certainly came from an engineering basis, I guess, in its gestation. So architects are the primary clients at the moment, but certainly for consultants and contractors, a large amount, you'll be sort of pleased but not pleased to know, of inquiries from our friends in MEP who would like us to do the modelling on their behalf. As you would know, MEP is probably the slower of the three disciplines, or multidisciplines. But having seen the presentation at John's show last Monday with the MEP Oz standards, very impressed with how much they are coming to the party. Some really good work there with content, with workflow management that they've instigated in a platform neutral environment through Mark Lowe at Triple N Group. But certainly MEP is still, the poorer cousin of the disciplines, and both with the MEP modelling that we offer, with the MEP modeller that Graphisoft has, I think a lot of architects can have a lot more spatial awareness of what the MEP solutions are doing in their buildings, and we can assist with that. Certainly on a project level, certainly the large infrastructure projects and utility, institutional projects we're working on has required us to be involved more than likely on the BIM front as project coordinators, and certainly help set those projects up. And that's the good thing about BIM, it does demand everyone to be involved in the project a lot earlier, and certainly we're involved a lot earlier now as well, even as a resourcing company. Certainly the clients who have taken this on and taken the collaborative approach on very well, over Machen, over in Perth, using the Graphisoft server, which we just saw then from Andrew Frengu, and also a lot of healthcare work, which is also done in a similar way. And we are assisting both in the content creation, modelling and documentation of those projects. Working with Brew Happel out of the UK in Revit Structure, and working closely with our Revit Architects team there as well, modelling on their behalf. Whilst we have an engineering team, we work to the engineer specifications and basically model their designs. So that's the same with our MEP modelling service as well. With Bentley, working through the UK primarily, but now with Mr. Beer closely in Australia, we're a finalist in the Be Inspired Awards using Bentley architecture in some sort of more. We do have a lot of, I guess you call training, software training, but also workplace training, and every now and again the staff in Vietnam enter competitions, and so this was one of the finalists that were awarded for that. Just as a quick overview to sort of not disassociate myself from Autodesk too far, although I'm not wearing their lanyard today, you'll be pleased. I did bring it just in case I needed it. I'm just going to go over a little bit of what the BIM, the Revit server offer does. It came out last year in sort of a beta format. It's now ships on the disk. Actually, there's no disk anymore. It ships on the USB drive for the Revit users amongst you. And it does allow you to, I guess, another hierarchy again on top of your collaboration and work sharing that happens within Revit as we speak. Now we can utilise that. We've been testing it out with clients like Hassels, both through Riverbed and through the Revit server itself, and had some various success with that. But certainly as a software-only solution, it's not bad. But certainly with the current infrastructure, you may need to be looking at things like Riverbed as well, so WAN acceleration devices. I've basically grabbed this presentation from someone else. He was very kind to let me to use it, and it comes from a presentation from Autodesk University, which I went to last year. But this is basically the situation now if you're trying to connect multiple Revit projects across offices. You're linking those through to, I guess, work shared files, and it's not fantastic. There are some limitations with how Revit displays linked files. They're certainly addressed in 2012. You can now tag linked files, you can tag the site within linked files, and schedule from those. So there's a lot more things you can do, but linking files inherently, which is like a 3D XREF, has still got its limitations. So the Revit server is there to get around that. What it does do is, I say, put another layer on top of the current workshare arrangement, so you actually have a very central server as opposed to the normal central server, and that then makes sure that the other local servers that you've got in your offices are updated, and that's using a TCP IP address as opposed, or not address, format, as opposed to the, I think it's WDisk. I'm not fantastic on the DOS term, but basically how Revit changes files and updates files is not the most efficient. Anyone working over even a LAN with larger files, some people in the room have a 1.6 gig file, I'm not looking at anyone particular. So that's going to take some pressure, certainly on all your infrastructure. But that's in part due to the way the file format and the way the data is transferred. So with this Revit server sitting on top, it's actually using TCP, and it's been found that even if you're not using it across multiple offices, if you use the Revit server internally, you'll actually see some speed enhancements as well, because this is changing to a different sort of file transfer protocol. So it's joining WANs together. It's instead of services like remote access through desktop. Citrix is interesting. Autodesk and Autodesk have steered away, steered clear of Citrix for a long time, mainly because of the graphic nature of their program. Citrix just hasn't been able to accommodate it. They now have 8 Citrix certified programs, the first one being MAP a couple of years ago, and now Revit is Citrix certified. So if you do have a Citrix network that you could experiment on, that's another way around it, but you still have that latency of the data going back and forward, so I think Revit server is still a better solution. There's basically only 2 more buttons on the desktop once you've installed Revit server. So there's a synchronise all and there's a synchronise remote, I think it's called. So it's one more step when you're actually synchronising back with the Revit server. And when you set up, it's one extra step. Down the sidebar, I should have taken some screenshots, but down the sidebar where you normally select your project folders, there's another icon for the Revit server, and you actually select from that server. And obviously the BIM managers, his task is to set that up initially. So basically it then works on a check method, so it does synchronise the local servers back to the master server, that's probably a better word, than the central server. And so what you'll find is all your offices then, assuming, will have exact copies of the file. Now that's good for backup, it's good for a bit of revisioning, but again, it's a lot of traffic over the network. So some suggest that, well, put it this way, certainly the BIM server, not to get confused, is a probably more efficient method at this stage. One of the things that Autodesk are doing is utilising a lot of their Vault technology. So anyone who's been in CAD for a long time will have heard about Vault. Michael mentioned it before with ProjectWise. Vault is great for CAD, not fantastic for BIM, but getting there. And so they're sort of shoehorning a lot of this technology together. So a little bit of a reason why they're going for more of an older method. So the implications are that MFTP protocol is the acronym I was looking for. I have no idea what it stands for, but it's the slower of the two. So TCP IP being a better way to exchange the data which Revit server utilises.